Well, welcome to AM Businesses, brought to you courtesy EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank. Well, the month of March is dedicated to telling the rich Ghanaian culture amid the coronavirus. Today on AM Business, we focus on the Ghanaian story captured in the coronavirus pandemic and its impact on businesses through the arts of textiles. Here's Charles Aite with more.
Textiles, they say, imprint the experiences of memorable events in our lives, be they exciting or gloomy as the coronavirus. Here in Ghana, a leading local textile firm, GTP, is giving a positive narrative to the coronavirus pandemic, chronicling national events from the lockdown to the various presidential updates. I sat with Stephen Bedu, head of sales for GTP.
With the onset of COVID-19, the challenge we sought to address was, how do we tell the story of COVID-19 in a positive light? How do we put a positive twist to something as accursed as COVID-19? So we challenged our creative team to the task to say, guys, what do we do?
A lot has changed since Ghana recorded its first COVID-19 case. The emergence of lockdown measures and the restriction in movement have sent businesses gasping for survival. Interestingly, these measures have had a positive turn on the local textile industry, hitherto exposed to the illegal proliferation of fake textiles into the local market from especially China and Nigeria. This is going to be the design room where all the magic happens. This is where all the magic happens. These creatives are the brains behind the three popular textile designs in the Ghanaian market. Fellow Ghanaians, Lockdown and Nana Spectacle. Oh yeah, you heard right.
Our President, His Excellency Nanado, you would notice that every time he addresses the nation, his salutation was always fellow Ghanaians. That was the first phrase you would hear. And it runs through all his speeches to the nation. And we thought this was a nice phrase to name the design which we're going to introduce, and therefore we came up with fellow Ghanaians. The other thing about those addresses that is the president's iconic spectacles. You can't miss it. And so that spectacle became the key motif. So in the fellow Ghanaians, you find that the spectacles runs through all the fellow Ghanaian designs, of course. And in the case of Lockdown, the padlock and key, those were the key motifs that runs through all those designs. And so this, if you, in a nutshell, this is the rationale behind these two collections that we introduced onto the market some few weeks ago.
We find these times as very abnormal times, and as part of the things we do, we try to capture events and activities that go on, which are almost landmark in our history.
Bismarck Eduasare oversees the creative desk of GTP. He walked me through the hidden details of these popular COVID-19 textiles.
This was, in our mind, the first measure that was taken. It was a stay-home measure. It was everybody being indoors. So we find chains and padlocks to the chains. So it was like we were all shut in. At the middle of March up to April, there was nothing you can do but to just stay at home. So that was the concept, stay at home measure. Okay, this is also lockdown. So you still find chains and padlocks.
I don't see the chains. What are the chains? We've moved from the land to the air.
To the air.
Okay.
To the air, right.
So this one has to do with the
airports being locked.
The restrictions on air movements.
Air movements, okay. So you see fans like the airplane fan blazed with the padlocks attached to them. Sort of no-fly zone or restriction of passengers. And that Nana here was the brain behind.
Nana was the brain behind it. Okay, Nana. So what made you bring all these things together to symbolize the restriction on air movement?
Oh, okay, what we heard was there was a lockdown around the airports and then the borders and then the various shops have to be locked down. So I generated this idea from the aircraft We have a padlock. Yeah, so which means like the airports have been, or the borders have been locked. And you have a keyhole here, and then you have a key holes over here too. Yes. Yeah, and then you have a view of the padlock here. Yeah.
It's amazing the kind of brains you have in this design studio. But beyond all these things, we're getting the feedback, the demand is high. Has it put a strain on your guys here? Because it has to do so much to meet the demand.
Well, we are capable and we can take the demand. What happened was that we first produced 90,000 yards. Since then, we've put in about 200,000 yards. So I'm sure we can meet the demand. Okay.
I just can't wait to see the fellow Ghanaians and Akufo-Addo's spectacles.
You realize that in Ghana, the story could not be told without mentioning the Commander-in-Chief and the various weekly broadcasts he had to the nation. So in trying to depict it, what we did was that for one concept, we took his most favorite classic design, that is Hein Pankasa, and put in the glasses, which has become iconic for our Commander-in-Chief, and put the two together to create this wonderful design. This was also the brainwork of Dede, and it came out really nice. And we are amazed about the response. Yes.
The response has been amazing.
Yes.
But one thing about the textile industry has to do with the power of symbols. Yes. And during these times, this particular power is really catching up with so many Ghanaians. How do you intend to translate this particular thing into revenue?
Right. Since we created the design and then produced the cloth, for us, in selling it, it's like it's not just about the revenue. It's getting every Ghanaian to own a part of this year, so that, as you rightly said, to posterity, we would have a story to tell, and that is more value to us. And in doing that, we also sell the brand name GTP.
The popular fellow Ghanaians print was created by Franklina Dedenate. This design has glasses on them, similar to the signature ones worn by Ghana's President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who's been given regular updates on the virus. How do you feel as a woman?
I feel very great and happy because at least I'm seeing people are liking it and they are also buying it. So I feel very happy about it.
The new fabrics have symbols like padlocks, keys, and planes to reflect some of the measures implemented to curb the spread of the coronavirus. Wax prints are popular in Ghana. Many office workers wear them on Fridays. Demand for these collections have skyrocketed, and for a textile company previously struggling to stay afloat, not more than 100,000 yardages of textiles hit the market daily, thanks to COVID-19.
We were amazed by the reaction of the public to this fabric. We've run out, we had to quickly set in motion the process to print some more. This is what happens in all our operations. You know, the thing about designs is when you're introducing a new design, you never know how well it will be received. So you introduce like 10 designs into the market, sometimes only one, sometimes only two may be accepted by the market. So you introduce a certain minimum quantity to start with, to test the market, to see how well it will be received.
This warehouse is where distribution begins. Bundles of COVID-19 textiles ready to hit the local markets.
Demand is very high. You know, we are in the COVID period. So a lot of people want the cloth just to remember the period one day, to tell their next generation that there was a period that we had the displeasure of the environment.
The textiles industry is a whole value chain. I visited this sewing shop owned by Linda Ashon. I'm interested to know how much revenue dressmakers are raking in.
As for this cloth, people are patronizing it. I've been stitching it a lot since they launched it. Every day,
so you know
people are coming for their own. It seems the cloth, everybody wants to get some. Yeah.
So for you as a designer, as a seamstress, do you feel COVID-19 has really brought its positive side?
Yes, it has. Though it's a serious thing, but I think it has done a lot for us. Like we were locked down, we are home doing nothing. But I thank DTP for bringing this idea, this cloth to town. Because of this COVID, everybody wants to have some in their wardrobe.
3 months ago, these dressmakers would have had their shops under lock and key as restrictions on movement halted every aspect of business in Ghana. Things have changed for the better, and they are positive of making gains from the coronavirus. What's the name of this one?
This is my fellow Ghanaians.
So you had it right. But what particular feature of this cloth catches your attention?
It's the spectacles. That's our president's spectacles, and it's so lovely.
But aside from this particular texture, I believe there are other textures that you've tried as well.
Yes, I have done the lockdown. The lockdown too is very nice, so colorful. You can do everything with it. Working with it is not difficult at all. You can get your designs how you want it, and you can get the shades for men and women, and it's lovely.
Well, we have seen the extent to which the coronavirus has had an impact on the business community. But we've also seen the positive sides of this pandemic as various apparel sectors and players in this field are cashing in on these new materials by GTP. It's not just a historic indication of the fact that we are putting together the impact of COVID-19 in print on the textiles, but also how much these guys are reaping in terms of the benefits in the long to medium term. I'm Charles Aita reporting for Joy Business.
And indeed, when we remember coronavirus many years to come, may we also remember how resilient, innovative, and creative we were in the times of coronavirus. That's it for AM Business.